Hey guys, it's Kyle from InvestiShare here. We're going to go over the DXY, Bitcoin, and Polygon because it had a huge pump. Basically, it's time to take profits with Polygon, but we might have an opportunity with Polygon very soon to do another trade with it. But yeah, let's dive into it. I'll show you guys what I see on the inside. Alright, so let's look at the DXY first, because that's the first thing you should do before you start trading every single day is see what the US dollar is doing, because everything that happens with the US dollar happens with an opposite reaction to Bitcoin. Anyways, we were banking on a break to the downside for this double top formation right here, but we got the support bounce instead. We didn't end up breaking down below it and seeing a rejection. If we did see a break to the downside here, then obviously Bitcoin would be at higher prices. But we're starting to see sideways trading, and it's starting to form a ascending triangle, which is typically a formation that's unbiased. Like it usually goes with the trend. So we had a break to the downside. So we may start seeing it break to the downside as well. But we got to react accordingly to whatever happens, right? So if we start seeing this pump, and it comes above this resistance and acts as support. If you're in a long position, you should exit it with your Bitcoin. And if we start going to the downside, if you're in a long position, you can definitely stay in it. But if you're in a short, you should probably get out. Anyways, we got to keep a close eye on that because it's actually getting pretty close to breaking out. A maximum amount around 1 day. It's not like the US dollar is not like crypto where usually it tends to break out. Like Bitcoin, for example, usually breaks out when there's about 20% left of a formation to be formed. And there's a lot less than 20% to be formed here, but you can expect the US dollar to break out of this within the next 24 to 48 hours. Going over to Bitcoin. So we're still in this rising wedge trade. If you entered this, your stop loss should be roughly around the recent high, around here. Let me actually put in the proper trend line here for you. There we go. Your stop loss should be roughly around here. Whenever you enter a short position or a long position, you should always be tracking the momentum of the trade as well. For example, when we entered this off of this candle right here, after this hourly candle printed outside the formation, sorry about the sound there, if you guys can hear that. Yeah, there's an ambulance going by. Anyways, you should always be tracking the momentum when it's breaking to the downside, and this is the like a momentum trend line right here. So what you'd want to do if you want to try to day trade without staring at your chart every single day, you should always be adding alerts to your trend lines directly. And what I mean by that is basically, you see this downtrending momentum. Once it breaks, you should be taking some profits because you have no idea how. Like we have the benefit of hindsight right now, but we have no idea how fast it will start going to the upside against you, and you don't want to leave all those profits on the table. So when you're tracking the momentum, you just click on your trend line, click on this little add alert button right here, and you want to make sure your condition's set to crossing. And what I would also recommend is like downloading the TradingView app on your phone, and so you can get notified on the app. You can also set it up so it notifies you through text under more actions here. And yeah, so have it set up so it notifies you text, and make sure the noise is as obnoxious as you can possibly make it, so you're forced to look at your chart, or to look at your chart. But anyways, that's just something I'd recommend. So, trading doesn't consume your life. The whole purpose of trading is to actually free your life, right? And if you're staring at your chart all day, then you're not doing it right, unfortunately. So, yeah, use your trend lines to track momentum. Use it as a tool to get out a portion of your trade early, and then you can react accordingly. Anyways, this is the momentum that I'm tracking now. And what we had was a double bottom formation forming. If this broke the neckline, if we start seeing support off this double bottom formation's neckline, and we broke above it, then I would have exited this trade with 100% of my trade. Because the technical target for something like this is right where my stop loss would have been. And I'm not in a position yet to be able to move my stop loss into the profit zone without being hit unnecessarily. Now, if we broke, right now we're at an area of interest, and that's why we're having sideways trading. I'll show you an example as why an area of interest creates sideways trading. So if you look here in the VPVR, we can see there's a large amount of interest here. And what fits perfectly inside of this is the price action. You can see that we're getting resistance at the top of the VPVR. We're getting support at the bottom of the VPVR. Now, if we ever broke below this, we would go to our next area of interest, or the technical target of the formation. If we broke above it, same kind of concept. So we broke below this, and now we're at the next area of interest. And our next area of interest is a lot smaller. So we're starting to see ranges that are smaller than what we're used to, especially since our last area of interest. So here we would measure from the this area of interest to roughly about here. So this is the kind of range that we're dealing with right now. It's kind of small, so like smaller ranges are a lot more risky to trade within. But we are at a area where we're in a lower price. So this is still a 4% move between each range. And we're not actually in a really well-defined range where I would actually enter in any of this. But typically you would enter a long position when you're at this point, and you put your stop loss below the range, and you would enter a short position when we're on top of it, and we put a stop loss right above the range. Just a little lesson for you guys. Anyways, yeah, we just want to wait and see what happens. If it breaks out of this range, we'll go to the next area of interest. We do have a little bit of support here at 19,800, but the next area of interest is at 19,200 area. So we'd see this break. If we see this break, this is a relatively weak support, but if it breaks below it, we'll go right to this area right here, and this is where we start paying attention again. Anyways, that's all I've got for you for Bitcoin, but I'm going to go over to Polygon. So Polygon just had a breakout of this broadening wedge. Broadening wedges, when they're downtrending, are typically bullish. We hit our profit zone already, and our second profit zone already, but what I'm trying to show you guys is that we just broke this momentum right here, and we're starting to go to the downside, and we're kind of sort of getting a bounce off this tiny little area of interest, but it's really weak. So once it breaks, we can most likely see it come right back down to this area where it acted as resistance. It's probably most likely to come down and flip as support, and we'll have a range like this to trade inside. So if you want to take the risk of trading inside something like this, it is a lot higher risk when you're entering long positions. Or basically catching the knife. So I would wait for the confirmation bounce first before entering a long, and then you would want to focus on getting out of your trade around the top of this formation. But this is just theoretical price prediction. I would typically wait for an actual formation to form and then enter off the breakout instead, because it's a lot less risk. Anyways, but yeah, the drop down from here, if Polygon breaks this area of support, it'll be about a 7% move. So I'd wait first before it, I would wait for it to break this support level first and then enter the short. Typically, you would want to enter the short as soon as it breaks this momentum, and it already broke the momentum, but we're pretty close to that price point. Yeah, that's pretty much everything, guys. XRP is just basically flatlining. It's stuck inside of the range still. Like I said before, we're inside this area of interest where there's a lot of sideways trading. It has to break above this for us to confidently stay inside this long. Like I've entered a long off of this little bounce here, but I'm going to be taking profits right after I'm done this video with you guys, because it broke this momentum. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for you guys. If you need help with anything what I just said, there's not a real signal off of this video. We're just waiting for Bitcoin to paint us a new picture for us to be able to trade off of it. But yeah, guys, that's everything I got for you, and you have yourself an amazing day, and thanks for listening.